From Firebird Lanes in Salem, here for the title matches of today's JBT event. Bud Sicard just escaped a wild semifinal match to advance and play top seed Michael Strothman for the title. Strothman opened with the Greek Church, but after a first frame strike, Bud returns the favor with the big four in the second on what has not been a high-scoring weekend at all. It's going to have to grind out a game here, it looks like, to win today's scratch title. Over on the right, that's 49 pounds of fury. That's red hot Do-Hoon Kwon. Oh, almost getting the messenger in the second frame. He's taking on Danny Chalmers for the handicap title. Joe has to beat Danny by 7 to tie, 8 to win. Kwon looking for his 4th career title and 3rd of the season. Already your points leader. He's going to extend that lead in the handicap division, having a fantastic abbreviated season. But only got 2 out of the big 4, and here is Strothman. Got 4 off the Greek Church, darn near made the thing. And as Kwon converts his 10, Strothman smashes 10 in the pit over there. He's got 3 handicap titles, does Michael, but looking for that breakthrough first scratch win. So hard to get that first one. He's been knocking on the door, but has a chance to break it down today as he's leading a standard format JBT for, I believe, the first time after 9 games today. We bowled an extra game of match play at plus 276. Capture Kwon first. I don't know how a guy that size bowls two-handed, but somehow everything's in timing and looks great when he's got it on. I mean, he's just been on all year. Strike, spare, strike to start for him. Nice shot. Michael elected to go urethane, keeping the ball in play. Good thing to do when the lanes are a bit trickier. You got less to figure out. The debates rage in bowling, don't they? One-handed versus two-handed, urethane versus not urethane. Oh no, and another Greek Church. Big splits popping up left and right here. Well, Strothman almost pulled his best Jennifer Laredo imitation and made his Greek Church. We'll see what Danny can do with his Greek Church. We couldn't get a second Greek Church conversion on camera, could we? Danny's already won 2 matches to get this far. You got by Toby Wills in round 1 and Courtney Aller in round 2. He throws it pretty darn hard. If anybody's going to have a shot at it, it'll be him, but no love over there when he gets 3 out of that. So he's in trouble. 3 consecutive opens to start the title match. Bud and Ashton played a weird semifinal where together they would have bowled 300 because Bud could not miss on the right-hand lane and could not hit the left-hand lane, and Ashton could not miss on the other lane. And it came down to a 10th frame open from Yamasaki to give Bud both the semifinal win and the U17 win, which the match simultaneously counted for. Michael, when you bowl, you have no 9-pin on lane 4. Whoa! As I knock the camera into oblivion, and Bud knocks those pins into oblivion at the same time. 10 in the pit. Great turnout. Thank you so much to Eric and the whole team here at Firebird for having us. A massively adjusted format due to capacity restrictions. 4 very small qualifying squads as Chalmers continues to struggle. Only 12 bowlers could make the cut, so we're limited to 50 bodies in the building. So that made it a very difficult cut to make. Option 6 there, guys. There we go. While they're figuring out how to get a full rack, Kwon's going to figure out how to catch an early double here, take a big lead. Wow, my goodness. Oh my goodness, he knows it's pure off his hand, he's running him out, and he's got a big early lead against Danny. The gentlemen have finally figured out the reset button over on 4. Strothman going to be looking to regain the lead if he can double in the 4th and 5th. Plus 67 after 5. Shot. Oh, about 900 in the 4-game semifinals to consolidate that first place lead. Quality shot. Half 10. See if Kwon likes this one as much. Didn't quite hook back. Got a bucket to contend with. Well done. Good to see you, Elijah. See you next time. Michael, an excellent spare shooter. Cross lane, no trouble at number 10. Bucket's tricky for anybody. About 17 different ways to chop it and about a way and a half to make it. He finds one of the ways. Well done. So poor Danny has a personality crisis here. Yesterday he was Jacob Buttriff. Jacob appreciated that. We showed him. Today he's Oscar Palermo. He's got a couple others in his catalog at home. Right now he needs to be Danny Chalmers and put some marks together. There's one of them. Necessary strike. He's got the tools to develop into a really good bowler. He's averaging 161 with us right now. Qualified at plus 87. Only got up to 105, so struggled a little bit in match play, but it was enough to hang on to the stepladder and looked great the first two games. Not so much this time, but we have seen matches flip-flop wildly time and time again. Oh, much better shot, and something takes out the 6-8. 6 fell late, the 8 got bushwhacked later. That's a big double, and all of a sudden the body language changes. Feels like a whole new game. Jocelyn marked in his 5th as well, so he trails by 8 pins. Bud can make that an 8-10 pin lead if he can strike in his 5th frame. We're going to catch Quan first over here. That timing has to be so good for a little guy. The ball's just going to fall off that little toothpick of a wrist, but pretty amazing. So if you can imagine Doe taking a lot of growth pills in about 6 more years, maybe he'll be 6 feet 11 like Bud. Tune in tomorrow, he'll be 7'4", as he just keeps going more and more vertical. And it's tough on a tall guy to be a two-hander, just like it's tough on a short guy, because the leverage gets all different. It's very tough to be down low at the foul line, and he makes up for a lot of that with a really long arm swing, which still allows his release points to be really good at the line, and that's why he's such an effective bowler at still a pretty young age. What's he, 10 or 11 now, Bud?
He turns 15 tomorrow.
Oh, 15 tomorrow, my goodness. This would be a nice early birthday present. Make that a 7-pin lead now. That's a decent shot, another 10. Quan as well, a half 10, same exact hit Bud just had. Right at it, no problem at all. He's clean with the double through 5. Chalmers kind of needs to keep his current double going here. See who's going to go first. 5 lanes away from each other. Each bowler making sure they have the approach to themselves. Switches to plastic just like Doe. He took a lesson from Quan on those corner pins, obviously. And all of a sudden, Chalmers says, let's go. 3 in a row for him. Fighting back. I like to see that. Sometimes you can have that rotten start, especially at the younger age, and just sort of mentally pack it in. Chalmers will not do that. He will fight to the end. It's going to get very interesting if he can find a way to 4-bagger here. That's close. Yes, sir. My goodness. What a comeback from Danny. Mike bowling a smart game. He's keeping the ball in play. 9 counter strike ever since that first frame miss. It's a 7-pin match, and he can turn that into a 2-pin lead if he can double up in the 7th frame. Quick scoreboard check. That's Doe's clean game so far. Chalmers, you see that real nice comeback in progress, but Quan's not letting him have any of it. You can maintain the pace here. 8th frame, spare working. Another beautiful shot. Go home. Hard to not be impressed over there. Strathman for the lead in the 7th. Yep. Right away, everybody said hook. Not going to happen on this pattern. Played tougher than you would expect on paper. Surface comes into play, oil type, all those different variables. We knew right from A squad it was going to be harder scoring than the piece of paper says. They're both up just about simultaneously. Strathman at the washout, not to be. Quan gets the double over there. Wow. 200 was a good game no matter which division you bowled in the last couple hours. They got harder, not easier in the semifinals. And Quan going at a 2-team pace. Oh boy, gosh, all kinds of arithmetic going on over there. We'll just see if Chalmers can continue the string and add it up from there in a couple minutes. Bud, meanwhile, spare working in the 7th. That's wild left, and he gets a great break with the Brooklyn. Chalmers trying to somehow stuff that high hit into a strike. Instead, only the 4. Now he can strike out for 192, and he's getting 7 more. So he can strike out for 199. Doe would 9 out for 203. So he must spare this and strike out to make Quan get a good count. Bud trying to consolidate that good break, but can't do it with a decent shot. Leaves a 4. Looks like scratch could be coming down to the, well, might be coming down to the 10th. That actually would have almost locked it up for Bud. As it is, if he spares it, he'll lead by 21 with 3 frames to go. It's a spare he should make, but you never know. Danny has to get them all down a couple times here. He needs the Brooklyn. Oh, the Brooklyn fast 8. Just about going to end his day, but it'll be a career high finish, a 2nd for Oscar / Jacob / Bill / Fred / Danny. Big question is, can Danny get Oscar Palermo to wear a Danny Chalmers shirt? Or a Jacob Butler shirt? You know what I mean. Much better spare, just boy, that beginning was rough. First 4 open frames, that's a great comeback. You just run out of frames at that time when your opponent doesn't make any mistakes on his end. Strathman needs to recover from his mistake. No! High flush the whole way. Solid 9 is part of the modern game, reactive or no. These urethane balls, I'm sure people watching this, they're not your grandpa's urethane. They're sort of semi-reactive. That's not correct either for those of you watching at home. You know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. Different kind of urethane. Stone 9 with the best of the equipment is what I'm trying to get at with that. He's still got room for 192. Bud pacing 193. And we got a victory lap for the big guy over here. This is a double points win too, so this is going to go a mile towards bowler of the year. And what a solid game. He'll spare that up, I hope, for a clean 2-teen. Danny put all the pressure in the world on the second half of the game, and he did not blink. Spare working 9th frame for Michael. Get that important 9th frame strike. Keeps it a match over there. Quan just trying to continue. Oh! I'm not sure I caught that, but he caught the bottom of that pin, and it was enough to knock it over, and just, yeah, everything went his way. Not nearly enough. Yeah, ringing 10 for Bud. Doe had to win by 8. Mission accomplished. And for one of many rising stars on tour, how about a clean 215 to run away with it? one of his more impressive wins. Nicely done out of both bowlers. No, Quan wins his fourth. Will Bud win his fourth? It's going to come down to the 10th to find out. Thank goodness he got that 10-pin lesson from Quan. Shoots it just like him. Real interesting scenario here as we do that scoreboard check. Bud with the spare would strike spare for 192. That would force Michael to strike out for exactly 192. Should they tie, our rule is a one-shot roll-off to determine it. Had that a few times over the years. Who performs best in the 10th? Perfect shot from Sicard. So important to get that first strike because he was on the spare, so he holds the count. Now a strike will win. Anything less, Michael will have a chance to strike, to tie, or win himself. Caught a nice break to throw a late split in the last match and still advance. This will take full advantage. No! Good shot, week 10, and it will be up to Strassman to see what happens the rest of the way. First things first, he locks up a tie. If he can knock this 10-pin over. Up rather quickly and misses that 10. My goodness gracious. Michael Strassman must strike on the next two balls to set up a win, tie, or lose final shot. Bud's got to keep his head in the game just in case this still ends up tie. It's certainly possible. Oh, what an opportunity for Michael to win your first scratch title. Who is the best bowler today? He's got to do it at least 2 more times. Look out, way left. Wow.
Give it to me.
I don't know if it was nerves or if it was just a miss, but that wasn't his best effort. He got a tremendous break to get the Brooklyn strike. He's a guy who generally, he has, how do I say this? He takes a while to bowl, but that was fairly quick for him. You gotta keep that 3-shot routine. If you take forever to throw a ball like he does, take forever again. Don't worry about that right now. Better shot. Not better enough. It doesn't hold, and Sicard escapes again.
Wow.
Houdini, 2 games in a row. Heartbreak for Strassman, so close to breaking through with that first win. It's going to be a 191 to 180 finish. Very typical of the kind of matches we've had all day long today. But after all is said and done, we got a pair of 4-time champs out here in Salem. Good stuff out of everybody. Thanks again to Firebird, and thanks again to everybody bowling and watching. We'll do it again in Vegas in a couple weeks. Back here in Mount Vernon in a month.